What's up, homies? It's your boy Doug, and I want to talk about the Arena client today. Now, Arena client is not in its best position. It's not even in a good position. It's not broken beyond repair, but it's not in its greatest form. Not to mention, it kind of keeps getting worse and worse whenever a new set comes in. Like, for example, with Commander Legends, Baldur's Gate, the audio for me just leaves. It never shows up, or in certain games, it just disappears. I also keep getting kicked from the client, even when I'm editing decks, not in a match, which to me is like an issue, but I digress. We're going to talk about that later, but before we begin talking about or trashing the system, I want to talk about what they do good and what they have been doing good. So up first, they give you free packs monthly, and you also get free packs on the Battle Pass, but we'll talk about the monthly first. Whenever you play Explorer, Draft, Standard, or Alchemy Ranked, you climb a ladder. I think the highest you can go is Mythic, because Mythic is the highest rarity you can get in packs, in cards. But it's then Diamond, Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze. Now, whatever you get the highest on, so if you play Explorer and Standard, if you are Platinum and Explorer and Diamond in Standard, you will get packs for Diamond. Not for both, just the highest you have achieved. If you play none of those, you can play Draft or, Alchemy. I think Alchemy. I'm pretty sure they have like a Historic Alchemy or something like that ranked. Not for Brawl, though, that you don't get a ranking for. I think that's just for fun. And then you also get 27 free packs, roughly, depending on the Battle Pass, just by playing the game and completing missions. Now, you could get more by buying the Battle Pass, but we're just talking about the free-to-play players. You get 27 free packs. As of right now, they could change it in the future. Which, overall, it's pretty generous of them to give you free Battle Packs from the Battle Pass and from playing monthly. It's a nice incentive to play ranked. Number 2, you get free rares / mythics with every 6 packs you open. Now, you don't always get a mythic, but for every 4 wheels that you complete, that you get a rare, you get the chance to spin the wheel. Well, you don't get a chance. You get the wheel for mythic. So for every 4 rares, you get 1 mythic, but you have to open 6 packs, which you can do passively. Like I said, you get 27 packs. You can buy more through the gold that you earn. Also, I think certain drafts give you pack openings, and from obviously buying the sets, it helps. It does sometimes build that wheel, but once again, it's free that you get it's nice that you get a free rare or mythic that you can craft yourself. In real life, whenever you open a pack, you do get the chance of a rare or a mythic foil, but that can also be an uncommon or common foil at the end of the pack. Here, you get to choose what it is. So for example, you can open 6 packs of, I think it's Midnight Hunt. You can then choose to get a, Meat Hook Massacre, or if you get a rare, you get a Wandering Emperor, even if it's from a whole different set, which I think is really good. It's really nice. Number 3 is refund on bans. I know that this one's a little bit weird because in real life, if you have, let's just say, a recent ban was Winota. She got banned in Pioneer and Explorer. If you had her in real life, you get nothing in return. She's just banned. Same thing with Oko, Expressive Federation, just gone. From the format, you can't do anything with them in that format. They're still legal in Legacy, Modern, Commander. Obviously not Standard because they're already rotated out. But if they were to be reprinted in those sets, you can use them. But for right now, if it's banned, you get nothing. In the Arena client, though, you get the chance of getting redeemed for whatever it was banned. If you had Expressive Federation, you get 4 uncommon. If you had 4 Winota, 3 Winota, 1 Winota, whether you spent money or not, you get the redemption back, which is really generous of them to give you something in return for something being banned that it's their fault for printing something that broken, but it's still generous of them to give you that. Now, I want to talk about the main issues with the client and how they can improve some other issues that are not affecting the client personally through the client itself, but the economy. Let's start off with debugging the game. I think they can resolve this by hiring more developers, but let me talk about with new sets and new cards and mechanics, the client is not going to always be perfect. For example, with New Capenna. When New Capenna came out, players could not start matchmaking games, not even ranked or regular. They just could not matchmake. They had to create private lobbies and invite their chats from their streamers. For us, you had to contact your homies, or I think there was some forms, but they patched that immediately. On the other hand, it's been about a month and a half since Baldur's Gate came out, and I'm still experiencing bugs that to this day annoy me. For example, the audio loss, as I talked before. when I am editing my decks, I sometimes get kicked from the client. I don't know why I get kicked. My connection is stable. I have YouTube playing on the background, and I have a good enough connection to do both. So why am I getting kicked from the client? That to me shows that they kind of don't care. And I think they can really fix it by just investing a couple more employees, which obviously they're gonna have to spend money. So investing a little bit more money into the situation. Once again, when they're recording record high profits from a client that gives you digital cards, I think they could spend a little bit more to make the game a lot more playable, in my opinion. Number 2, they can give us ownership over our cards in MTGA. Even if you spend real money or are a free-to-play player, you don't own the cards. And by that, I mean you're technically just using them from the client itself. There's no global trade system with a person or, the AI. There is no crafting, selling, trading, or some sort of did I say dusting? I don't know if I did. But there's no way to redeem other cards that you have copies of. And by that, I mean, for example, Land of War Elves. He got printed in Dominaria. And then he got reprinted in the M21 sets. So you have 8 Land of War Elves just sitting there. 4 you can use, 4 you can't. Now, the way they can do or go about that is by trading for, with another person. Crafting for, dusting for, get rid of them to get, let's just say 2 common. Or I can trade all 4 for 1 uncommon, just move that up a rarity. They can implement a lot of things, but at the current moment, you can't do anything with copies. And no, this isn't just towards commons. There are rares that have been reprinted. There are mythics that I think a couple mythics have been reprinted from other sets, but they're just stuck in your system. You can't do anything with them. You don't own them because then again, you can't trade them into Wizards of the Coast and get your 4 back like in Magic the Gathering Online. I know they have a redemption system where if you have 4, it has to be 4 copies of a card. You can trade them in for real life copies of the card. Now, once again, this to me feels like you're just using the cards, whether you spent real money or not. You don't own them because you can't do anything with them. It's like going to your local card game store because you can't play this on another game. You can't open MTGA client and try to play your collection on MTGO. So it feels like just going to a local game store, using their cards and then going home. You don't do anything with them. You can't do anything with them. They're just stuck on the client. Now, one thing I suggest they can do, I don't know if it'll be perfect for the client. I don't know if it'll make the client lose money, but in my opinion, they can do a global trade system where if I have 4 rares or 1 rare and my another person online just randomly I met through Reddit or Facebook or YouTube or our friend in real life that is on the client, where we can trade, a rare for a rare, mythic for mythic, or, commons for a rare, however we want to do the trade. It to me would feel like it will be more user-based game as opposed to now where the only interactions I have with other people are emotes and the automated messages that you have. But that, in my opinion, is my solution. Number 3 is weekly daily missions need an overhaul. Now, every day you get a daily mission. On the bottom of the bar, you must complete it by playing a certain amount of creatures, destroying a certain amount of creatures your opponent controls, playing a certain amount of lands or spells, so on and so forth. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones on your bottom right. The daily missions you get by winning 15 games. You unlock the missions. Now, winning 15 games weekly is not that big of a hassle. That to me is a little bit jarring because every week I have to win 15 games to unlock these. But that's for here now, it's fine. It could be updated. It's the daily missions I want to talk about. I am not a streamer. I do not have the time to play 15, more or less win 15 games a day. I have a job. I have children I love to play with. I have a wife I love to spend time with that I just can't spend, I don't know how many games it would take me for me to win. Even playing my best, most aggressive decks, there's some times where I meet a deck that just outright stomps me. There's times where I get mana flooded as mono red. There's times where I get mana screwed as a ramp deck. It happens. I don't always win. And it's, oh my goodness, it's just so infuriating when you're having to try to win 15 games and the game just screws you over. I'm not saying the game sucks. I'm just saying that I understand how RNG games works. And sometimes it rolls your way, sometimes it doesn't. Having to win 15 games, though, is the problem. It's making me drag my feet towards a win. it doesn't make it fun. Playing Magic the Gathering just to win is not fun, in my opinion. Sometimes I like to do impossible combos, whether I lose the game or not. Sometimes I like to play my opponent and how we go back and forth on temple decks. Even if I lose, I had a fun experience because I was pushed to my limits. But having to win games is not fun, in my opinion. I don't know how many times I have to state that, but winning games is not always fun. And that's why I think they need to be changed from playing 35 green creatures that are like 6 mana or more daily. That's not hard to do. I mean, yeah, sure, you're gonna have to play some decks where you lose, but at least getting these creatures out is fun, you know? Trying to meet this goal. Having to like play 80 sorcery spells that are blue for the weekly, that's how I feel they can change it. But just winning 15 games daily and 15 games weekly is just, to me, it's not fun. It doesn't help the game. It just incentivizes people to like rage because, you know, you're at the end of the day or you're in the beginning of the day where you only have this set amount of time. And if you're not winning, you're not having fun, you're not gaining these rewards that you're missing out because these rewards help you with the battle pass. But once again, that's just my opinion. I feel like that's one great way they can change it to where it's more inclusive to being enjoyable to playing the game than just, hey, go win, you know? Number 4 is lowering the cost. And by lowering the cost, I'm not talking about draft. For draft at the current moment, to draft in anything, I believe, it's 1,500 gems, which is around $10. $10 gets you 1,600 gems, which I think you'll have 100 gems rolling around. That's fine. That's, in my opinion, that's fine. In real life, it's like $20 to draft, depending on the box, if you're not buying the box to draft with your friends. But neither here nor there, $10, in my opinion, to draft is fine on an MTGA client where you don't trade cards and all that. But where I do have a problem is with the rare and mythic bundles they were selling for $50. That is where I have a problem with because you already trying to play standard, the most open set of all right now. In your land base of 24 lands on a 3-color deck, which right now it's 3-colored formats, you're using around 90 to 98% rares. If you're playing a 2-color deck, you're using around 75 to 80% rares. Once again, this is on a 24. If you can play mono red, you can play mono green, but the most competitive decks are winning right now are 2 to 3 color decks. You can get away with running less lands, but at the current moment, these lands have effects. You can't just be like, oh, these lands are triumphs, so that's why you need them. No, these effects that like Den of the Bugbear where it becomes a creature, Soaring City where you can bounce a creature back, they have more than just an effect of putting lands on board, which pushes you towards a win against your opponent that doesn't have these resources, or they crafted all their good cards and all their other cards are for lands. Now, these are just the lands we're talking about, where if you do 20 lands that are rares, you're not having a main deck. If you do your main deck, you're having to budget on your lands. And yes, you can. There is a big emphasis on can, but the fact that you're losing resources, like I said, Hall of the Storm Giants, which is a 7/7, helps you out later in the game with Ward 2, mind you. Your opponent doesn't have that. You're already put into an advantage of, if I waste his resources, I'm already far ahead of the game. To where he just crafted his, let's just say, Ravine, or I think it's Ravine, and his Wandering Emperor, and he has just the basic lands. Yeah, it does suck, but this is why I think they should lower the bundle, because it makes it a little bit more inclusive for everyone to play the game. And it's not just who paid the more, it's more about who's the better player. Obviously, you're not going to always win. You're not going to always play your best because the game is RNG, depending on how you shuffle in real life or the game shuffle. But with that being said, they can lower the cost to the bundle. They can also do a crafting system, which I mentioned before, that can help you get rid of cards you're not using. To cards that are like you are using, you have multiples of, like, for example, I don't need 4 Rafine. I can get rid of 2, so I can build a, for example, Teferi with a Lithiform deck. If that's what I want to play, let me do it. I don't need Rafine for that. Let me get rid of them, you know? Maybe I hate the Wandering Emperor and I never want to play white. In real life, I don't like blue. I don't want to play blue cards that just counter and return creatures, you know? But if I wanted to get rid of those cards to make other cards that I do want to play, like green and red, I can't do that. In real life, I can sell my blue cards, get my green and red cards, and have fun. But there's no way to do that. There's no possible, at the current moment, way. There's no possible way to do that in the Arena client. It's a little bit too expensive to play fun decks. since your rares and your mythics at a bundle are valued at like $50, which, and be honest, if I can't do anything with these digital cards, digital, I might ask, that cannot be redeemed for physical, they are a little bit too expensive for $50. $20 would be the highest I would pay, but that's just me. They can lower the price of that. They can introduce a global or crafting system, a global trade system or crafting system. And I think that's about it. There's obviously other answers they can, like, people can shout out, but that's just what I'm thinking of that I feel like will be effective. So in conclusion, these are my problems with the Arena client. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any other problems or bugs or fixes that your client can use, but I feel like these are some things they can tackle to make forward strides, And while I don't think these solutions will be perfect, I'm not saying they should implement these solutions, but tackling these solutions will show that they care about the client, since they are pushing this client to be a world championship. I said client a lot of times, now I feel weird using it, but this is what they want to use for the world championship. This is what they're promoting to be used for the world championship. They can show a little bit of investment other than, we'll get to it when we get to it, Now, I don't think this client will ever be perfect, and I don't think any client will ever be perfect, especially with new sets coming in. But it's a great place to start to show us that they care, because at any point, if it keeps going, like, getting worse and worse, they can be like, you know what? We don't feel like investing in it, so we're just going to be done with it. And whatever money you put in there is literally just wasted. But these are just my opinions, my solutions to these problems. Obviously, there's more I would like to hear about your problems with the client or your solutions in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it if you guys would share it as well. You guys have a nice day.